We're good?
You
All
guys have any
right.
intro? You got? Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of an intro later, but
Yeah,
we're
we're
just going to introduce you guys a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. Hey, friends. We have some special guests with us today.
Sure do.
We've got a couple of fantastic people from the movie 1BR. We have a producer, Alok, and we also have one of the stars of the movie,
Naomi.
nice to meet Naomi Grossman. I'm sorry.
Hi, guys.
And just
So
for the
how are we
record-
doing tonight?
Good. Just for the record, it's Alok. It rhymes.
Oh, okay.
It rhymes with joke or smoke. That's what you can think of it. Alok.
Sorry, Alok.
I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not like a
Or
common
toke,
name, right?
or coke, or like pretty much.
or as we say with the
None
kids
of them are
say,
super positive, I've noticed, that you're rhyming this with.
no. Or as the kids say,
Uh-huh.
woke.
Oh.
Stop yourself.
Are you trying to be cool right now?
I feel
Truth
like you've
bomb.
said that
Truth
several
bomb.
times.
Actually, not so much.
Woke's a new one. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to introduce yourselves for our listeners? Kind of give you a little bit of a.
Well, ladies
a little bit-
first.
Naomi.
Oh, I guess that's me.
Oh.
Well, you did a great job. I mean, the star of 1BR.
Obviously.
No, I mean, you have a horror fan base, so probably
We do.
I would imagine people probably know me, but if they don't, they probably know me best from American Horror Story as Pepper,
Which we love.
Aw, thanks. But of course, there's more to me. I play cult leaders' wives, among other things. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. So much of this job is to toot your own horn, and yet I'm not actually that great at it.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Put you in a weird spot. You did great though. Thank you.
Thanks.
Alok, please introduce yourself.
I'm Alok Mishra. I'm one of the producers of 1BR. My first movie.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, my producing partner Shane Borster and I have a company called Malevolent Films, and we try to make sort of elevated horror, if you will. Stuff like The Witch, stuff like that. Like we both tested movies for 18 years. We did market research for film prior to diving into this mess, and perhaps allegedly mortgaging my house to make this movie. Allegedly,
selling your left arm. Yeah. Okay.
And already paid off house, because we're just like, let's do it. Anyway, but whatever. That's allegedly.
Not important details or
Hearsay.
anything.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
might hear a lot of allegedly tonight, just FYI.
Well, I see a lot of air quotes too. I like
Okay. Gotcha.
it. So how'd you guys get involved in the movie? Like how'd the whole thing start?
From the producer point of view, my wife went to college with Allard Cantor, and him along with Jared Murray have this company called Epicenter. They're managers, and they're our writer-director David Marmer's managers. So my wife went to college with Allard and said, let's have lunch, and she of course included me, and we had one of those Hollywood douchebag lunches. The fact that my wife was actually along for the ride, and that's very unusual, because she doesn't want to hear all this bullshit that we talk about. Well, I'm so great because of the, and I'm so great because of have you sucked his dick? His dick is amazing, because like you have so much money for your movie. Like this is the kind of conversation we have. But Allard at the end of the conversation was like, "What are you working on? Horror? Send me 2 scripts." He sent me 2 scripts, and I never read them for 6 months. I never read these scripts because I'm a douchebag like that. And I had another project. To be fair, I had another project I was working on. I was very knee deep in, and it was like taking all my time, and I just hadn't time to read anything. And by the time things calmed down 6 months later, that project had fallen through that I was working so hard on, and I was like panicked. And I looked for 2 scripts, and I found their 2 scripts, and one of them was Tragedy Girls. If you haven't seen that, great, funny horror comedy.
Okay.
But from my experience, horror comedies don't usually work, because one side isn't satisfied. The horror side is like, it's not, scary enough. No, the comedy side is like, this is too violent, and it's hard to put together. I mean, very rarely you get something like a Shaun of the Dead or stuff like that. It's tough to do. Right. So I said, of course, I told them all these things. I was like, I would never do this movie. And they're like, oh yeah, we just finished shooting that a week ago. And I was like, okay, what the fuck do I do?
Oh, awkward.
Now what?
Well, the other movie was 1BR, and they set up a meeting. I met with David. It was a lovely human being. It's a very, very smart man. He will never tell you he went to Harvard. He's brilliant, and he is very sweet too, and just super smart. And so we had the same sensibilities. And I was like, Shane and I are first-time producers. You're a first-time writer-director. What could go wrong?
Yeah, great combination.
Yeah, and it goes from there. But yeah, that's how we got involved. And then Naomi can tell you from her point of view what happened.
Yeah.
Indeed. So Alok and I are old friends. We met. We have a mutual friend from one of his. So Alok is actually from LA. He likes to pretend he's more grounded and like he grew up or something in like I don't know, like Alabama or somewhere like not LA or no, it was Mississippi. But he spent like I want to say from like age 12 on I'm giving your whole biography by the way. So
age 14 on.
14. So in any case, he's lived in LA quite a while. That's basically an Angelino. Because no one is actually like from here.
All transplants, yeah.
Right, of course.
Right. We're all Sarahs when we start. Which we'll talk about as well, of course. But so in any case, he's essentially an Angelino, grew up with one of my dear friends from college. And so when I first moved to LA as a Sarah, basically, I didn't know anyone. I had nothing but like a cat. No, actually, I didn't have a cat, but I
mean, it's a good story. You should go with it.
all of my jokes are like only funny if you've seen the movie, which
I was gonna say very similar to Sarah again. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, no, the point is I was Sarah. I had no friends except for like, Lisa at the temp agency or whatever. No, I'm kidding. I never did that. No, I had no friends other than Alok because her friends from high school became my friend because I was now, I think I'm hungry. I can just tell whenever I'm like, a little bit like low blood sugar, my stories go all kinds of places. So this will be interesting. But anyway,
I'm ready.
We're ready for the ride.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
So Alok's high school friend was my college friend, moved out here, befriended her friends from home. And so I've been like friends with Alok for like 20 years. Little did I know I've been like Hollywood networking this whole time. I was
Naomi, I got to tell you something. Like
what?
That skeleton keeps on hitting your microphone.
Oh, is that popping noise?
Yeah, that's that popping noise.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what it was, and I'm like, I feel bad, but
no, you're right.
And everything, but
please enjoy them from afar.
They're really cute, though.
They are super cute.
You know me, I just love a
already.
costume. All right, it is what it is. It's all right. But anyway, we so I've known Alok forever, and so when he and in all this time. I finally managed to like have some success as an actress, which I wasn't having for most of our friendship. And it just conveniently happened to be in the horror genre, which, Alok that's his medium of choice. Yeah. So, I think it just kind of all worked out, when he, got to working on this movie, he was like, who do I know? And obviously I was a kind of an obvious choice. And but it's funny, he set me up with an audition, which I was like, seriously, dude,
you know what I can do.
Rude.
Seriously. I mean, talk about like dicks you
it was a
Hollywood. I'm like,
this has
been a 20-year dick suck, and I still really. But anyway, so, but not only did I have to audition, which he's right, it was a formality, but not only did I have to audition, I had to audition with him, like as the reader.
Oh, this is great. All right.
It is great.
I want to just say, in my own defense, you wear many hats as an independent.
That's what I'm about to say. So this is what's amazing about.
I'm not an actor. I did drama in high school, but
no, but Alok does everything except the role of Sarah in this movie. I kid you not. No, I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like literally he was like, he's allegedly mortgaging his already paid for house to like make it happen.
They'll figure it as we go along. But just tell them like, my horrible reading story, I guess.
This is awesome.
As we go along, like telling you the stories of like the journey of making 1BR happen, like literally every story will start with like Alok doing this job, which any other production would have had some like minion to do. But Alok did it all, like down to like,
because we didn't have any money.
Right.
You had to do it all.
Making it work. Yeah.
It wasn't a choice. Believe me, it wasn't a choice.
No, but here's what's funny, because like I said, I mean, his heart is in the right place. So reading opposite me, and good thing, oftentimes in acting classes, they'll do like an exercise where they're like, let's give you a shitty reader just in case. Because every now and then there's going to be somebody who's, doesn't do this often or like is Alok. And sure enough, he was, I swear to God, like the craziest reader ever. Ideally you're with like a fellow actor who like knows to like pause and listen and react and, do what you do.
Has a knack for it. Yeah.
Right.
He, on the other hand, it's not like he's illiterate, quite the opposite. The man,
I don't know. I'm beginning to think that he is. Okay. All right.
No, the man, he might be an alcoholic, but he is, what he is very smart for being someone.
Allegedly.
He's very smart for being someone who went to USC. He actually, so when we, literally, like, I don't know how many times we've ended up playing like drunken Trivial Pursuit at like 2 a.m. And his whole thing is like, you will know the answer to a question, but he will read it so jacked up, like fast and slow, then like, like pronounce things weird. And you're like, I don't even know. It could be literally like, what is your name? And you'd be like,
I've never heard this question before.
It's almost like he was reading, like he was playing Trivial Pursuit with me drunk at 2 a.m. Like he was like trying to stump me. And I kind of want to be like, what are you doing to me? Like, just like, you're not trying to screw me up actually this time. Like, actually you're on my side. But anyway,
to be honest, it was really just a formality that,
of course,
that she was reading. It was just to make sure that David didn't think she was a crazy person or something,
right,
or whatever it was. So I mean, she had the role. To be honest, she had the role. And we were so happy and so lucky to get her.
No, I knew
her stature and her following.
No, it was great. We ended up, I remember afterwards we went for drinks. So I was like, okay, this is not a normal audition. Like when you go with casting and get drunk later, like I was like, okay, I felt pretty good about it.
You're like, I'm kind of a shoo-in. I got this.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of leads
I
into
hope
this
we've answered your questions in a very roundabout.
I have no idea what question I asked. I don't know.
The longest answers.
Well, this kind of leads into the next question was like, I'm assuming that you guys had fun while you guys were on set.
Right. It continued through actually shooting the movie.
Or was it business when you were doing it?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the fact is, yes, it was a low budget movie. So time is money and we didn't have any money. And, and we only had so many Aloks. I mean, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The man had to, he was sometimes an extra. He was sometimes you name it. He was doing everything.
Well, now I'm gonna have to watch the movie again to see where the extra
cameos
is
in the movie.
I know. Do you have any cameos?
Yeah.
I'm in it so
like
much.
Every shot.
Is it?
Okay, I'm rewatching it and I'm watching for you.
Well, you can actually play Naomi likes to say this. Actually, I should speak for her because we do each other's stories sometimes. But she always says that like you can play a drinking.
You're
game.
it.
Yeah. Well, drinking game in so much is that you can get something that's like not as powerful because you're gonna get fucked up because you're gonna notice you're gonna notice me in the movie quite a few places and I'm telling you I did not want to be in this movie. Like it was
but you had to.
I would be sitting at Video Village and be like, all right, we need more extras. Alok, Shane, fucking get up there, and they're like, why did you wear a shirt that has logos on it? You fucking know you're gonna be in this movie. And I'm like, No, I don't know that. I'm hoping like a normal
That's
producer
not
can
the
sit in a
intent.
video village and I can fucking watch the footage and make sure it's not fucked up. Like, it's like, so we would go and do
No.
this. And Amy says there's a drinking game involved. You could do that too next time you watch it. So
Oh yeah, no, we
we have
will.
a drinking game.
Absolutely.
Can do.
All right. Was there anything that was unexpected while you were filming? Like, did anything like happen that would
Curveball or
that-
something.
Yeah. What,
Mhm.
was anything that happened?
Well, so I talk about finishing stories. I messed up my cue when Alok says, you're a first-time director. I'm a first-time producer. What could go wrong? That's my cue to then talk about the time
That shit went wrong.
All the times that shit went wrong. Right.
Like you could do an entire movie just on the making of 1BR. It would be one of those horror comedies that Alok is averse to. But I swear to God, oh my God. First off, at one point we had a one of our like vans with equipment.
Wait. I was gonna say this. Tell the fires, the actors, and then the van story.
Oh,
okay.
Order.
Okay, there's an order. Okay.
In that order? Or maybe we should start with the actors because that to technically come first.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Why don't I'll tell the actors.
What feels natural for you?
It's fine.
Well, I'll tell the actors, you tell the fire, and then we'll tag team the hot felon.
Okay.
The hot felon. I'm
Oh,
intrigued.
amped
Keep
up. I
going.
like it.
Oh yes. So basically this is actually not my story because I was already cast. Like I was cast unbeknownst to me, even though I still had to audition. I was actually cast like in March and we shot this in December. But so you have to imagine like 1 week before we, got to work, they found out. So you have to imagine they've already cast this, I don't know, some CW star, with a very large Instagram following. Because unfortunately, that actually matters. Like,
Okay.
those of us who went to drama school, like, great, good for you. You wasted $50,000 a year for
Congratulations. Right.
Ibsen and Chekhov, and it means nothing. Like, have a big booty and an Instagram account. And you're
Post
now
right
you're
angled
Hollywood.
pictures. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. So in any case, so they cast this lady who to this day I still don't even know her, but I hate her. We hate her.
We can't say who she is.
No.
But she's on some shitty like.
Well,
Disney-
especially now you can't.
Yeah. Now that you
Well, it
dug her
doesn't
through the
matter.
dirt.
No, I mean this woman put us through some shit, but she'll tell you
Okay.
the story. It's
Well,
like,
so but in her writer, because every actor has I need this, I need that. Well, my writer says nothing, evidently.
Like I need snacks. Snacks to
Not-
be great. Feed me so my blood sugar doesn't get low, and I'm good.
No, I need to work on my writer. But this lady, she was like, like, M&M, like one green M&M in a pile, one of those. Anyway,
Dramatic, yeah.
Okay.
she needed specifically this feminine energy drink. Who knew? So
I didn't even know that was a
apparently-
thing.
I know.
oh, it's
The
a thing.
hunt-
It's a fucking
Apparently.
thing.
Allegedly.
No,
I am
no, there's
female.
no alleged about it.
It's not
It's a fucking thing.
allegedly.
It really.
I will tell you. I'll tell you what it is off air, but you can never mention it. Like they're
Okay.
lovely people, by the way. They sent us all this free energy drink, but it wasn't getting there 3 days until we were in production. And Naomi goes,
So, like a good producer, even Alok is even on the phone with the feminine energy drink truck to see if they can
Wow.
bring it. It won't be there for a few days, and because Alok is that thorough, he's like, well, we got to go to Gelson's, right? We got to go to the grocery store and like that's how hands-on he is. That's how low budget this movie was. Okay. So
and
He
I'll say
did
this,
everything.
Well, Gelson's is a super fancy grocery store. They don't.
Right.
There's not a ton of them. Like I don't think they exist out of Southern California, really. But they're
Right.
the super fancy place. And I had to track this energy drink down, and that's where they had it in Marina Del Rey.
he
Sorry, go
went
ahead.
to like the farthest. It's barely Los Angeles. Like it's like a whole nother. Like it's like
Universe?
you need a
Yeah.
passport to be out that way, and like that's how far he went to go get this energy drink. In any case, so here he is, like begging the manager, like, I swear, I know you guys, I've already called, like, can you just look in the back? And he's like, oh, okay. So the manager goes to get the extra energy drink. Alok gets a phone call. It's the actress's agent. She's out, no explanation. Not only is she out, but her friend, whatever he is, allegedly, who they had cast in the Brian role, because apparently that was in her writer as well. She needed,
Okay.
you know, her boyfriend to play the
Yeah,
love
you
interest.
need to work on your writer here. I mean,
Okay, wait. Let's be clear. Like in a legal sense, okay, that was not in her writer, and allegedly that guy may have been her friend or a boyfriend. We don't know what he is, but he's on
Allegedly.
some
Okay.
CW
But he was nearby.
bullshit vampire CW vampire show that no one has ever seen before, and that's been canceled long since. So fuck that guy too. But we don't know who he is. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Okay, sorry.
Doesn't matter. I just know I need more friends like that to like
Right.
demand that I get in their movies. Like, what the F?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with my friends? You know?
Alec, what's wrong with you? Help a sister out.
So, in any case, I think I'm hoping for the next one I don't have to audition, but I digress. So here he is, like the manager comes out with like stacks of energy drinks, like, we got some in the back, and Alok is like,
Too late.
we're good. Like, we don't want it. We don't need it anymore.
Put them in the
like,
back again.
at this point, like, what do Alok and Shane do? Like, they're all the way in Marina del Rey with like, so they like go drinking because that's what
What do
you
you do at
when,
that point? Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you've just you've mortgaged your already paid off house allegedly. Like, what else?
What
So
can you
they
do now?
They go to like Barney's Beanery, which is a bar here, to kind of figure things out. They're calling like
Decompress a little bit. Mhm.
Blumhouse, like all the big agencies, like, please
Wait,
stay
wait,
open.
wait.
What?
No. So what happens is that we go to a bar, not Barney's Beanery, that bar. We go
not
to a bar
Barney's.
to have a drink and just try to figure out what's going on.
Right.
And then what happens?
Yeah.
We get another call, and it's our Miss Stanhope character actress. And what's happened is that her husband has collapsed, rushed to the hospital, and is dead now. And so she's dropped
What?
out
Wait.
too. We've lost 3 people in the span of whatever time.
Like an
right?
hour or
Gosh.
two.
Yeah. So that's what
Wow.
happens
Escalated
there.
quickly.
And then so it's a Monday. It's a Monday. That's all happened on a Monday. We're shooting on Thursday.
Supposed to shoot Thursday.
So we push everything back to the next Monday, and then now it's Friday. And Naomi, you can finish the story.
Okay, so at this point, they're still like looking for, they've just lost the 3 main leads, really. So they just got lucky and found, Sarah. As it turns out, Nicole Bryden-Bloom, who plays Sarah, did a phenomenal job.
Yes, she did. Absolutely.
Was actually our director David Marmor's first choice, but these money grabbing producers were seduced by this stupid Instagram following, so that's why she kind of was shafted temporarily. Fortunately, they judgment prevailed.
Some more clarity. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
And desperation.
and desperation. But
But if she was a first choice, I mean, I think it worked out in the end,
no,
right?
oh yeah,
She
for
was
sure.
actually, she was actually all of our first choice. We were like, oh, she's great, she's perfect, da da da. And then this other sort of more seductive like sort of force came into the place, and then of course money. We're like, oh, we're already in the black if we cast this girl, And so we literally had to corner David and be like, because he didn't want any part of it. He was just like, no, I want my way. And I'm like, we're already in the black. And he's just like, fine. And we were like, listen, we'll fly you up to, whatever place in Canada they're shooting her shitty show. And we'll let you rehearse with her. Like, we'll fly you up a couple times. Right. And we did do that, by the way. And then still this like girl dropped out. Anyway.
So lame.
Yeah.
In any case, we really lucked out with Nicole, because not only is she great, but she came from New York to do this, which was an interesting. I think it ultimately helped the performance, not because New York actors they like to think they're so much better, but mostly because she really was a fish out of water. Like the rest of us are all, local Angelinos. So we were all like, oh, where are you going tonight? What you got going? And she's like staying in some probably very nice hotel because Alok foreshort picked it out.
The best Hilton in the Valley. and not only did I pick her up, but I had to go with her to rent the car because she's too young.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
And I was like, can you
But
drive?
still.
She's like, I think I can drive.
Oh jeez.
I'll
a New
give you
Yorker.
extra insurance for you.
Still,
Just in case.
but still, you don't want to be in the valley. The point is,
The valley sucks. I live in the valley now. I can tell
That's-
you firsthand.
that's why his internet's so bad. He had to sell his.
True. It's fucking true.
You did freeze for a few seconds there. Just-
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It freezes all the time. Get used to it. It's gonna happen. Like,
In any
All right,
case,
Naomi.
so the point is, she was really, it worked out. She was very, she was that girl who was sort of like, one of us is fish out of water. One of us is not like the other. It was great. Anyway, so she came in. They had 3 hours to rehearse, the two of them. Like,
No
imagine.
pressure.
David has like
Yeah, no
flown
pressure.
up to Canada to work with this feminine energy drink for however many times. And then the real star of the movie like comes in, they have like 3 hours on set. Who knew?
Mhm.
But anyway, she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, she rocked it.
As for the Brian character, he was also a last minute, like I want to say that same Friday, they put an offer out to Giles, who ended up getting the role. He was en route, like driving from San Francisco, and pulled over. And this is actually quite common. Alok does not know this about the industry, that actors like, we're so freaking hungry. We just want to work. Like, he didn't even read the whole script. He just like scrolled
"I'm
through
in."
on his phone.
Mhm.
Like,
He's
he
like,
pulled
"Great,
over
love it."
and off the side of the road, like, okay, make sure it's not a porno. Yeah, okay. Okay, is my role, like, you know what I mean? Like, is how compromising will this be?
Uh-huh.
To my career. And it wasn't bad enough that he was willing to accept it. And anyway, don't get me wrong, I think I did the same thing, Alok. I had no excuse for it because it
Allegedly.
wasn't like
She
right.
allegedly felt that way.
but I mean, it happens. It happens all the time. Then the third character, you recall, Miss Stanhope.
Mhm.
It turns out that Alok and them got a bunch of reels from let's face it, she was
Well,
kind of
we're-
a
I
niche
should say-
character. Oh, go ahead.
I should say this timing wise, we're on the Friday again. Right?
Yeah.
So this is like Friday morning, like before the Monday that we have to like shoot. So that's setting this scene. Sorry. Go ahead.
So here we are. It's still like, time is money. They found this reel for this, Susan Davis, which Alok watched. And in the end, it had a phone number, which he called, and Susan Davis answered. And of course, he's like, oh, this is awkward. Like, this is
Unexpected.
highly, you know what I mean? This thing's on the internet. Like, what are you doing, lady? Like, not only do I want to like offer you a role, but now I want to like manage you and like,
Right.
like
Get off the
show you
internet.
the way. Yeah. Anyway, it turns out Alok pretty much like, was like, look, this is highly inappropriate, but I'm gonna pitch you the movie. I'm gonna pitch us. And he did. And of course, she was like, oh, well, I've never done a cult movie before. And she was totally, all of a sudden, boom, that happened at like 9:30 a.m. By 11:30, she was signed. So,
Wow.
Good job.
So efficient.
Mic drop.
mic drop. They made it happen. And sure enough, we started on Monday. Not a single hitch.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
Well, not a single hitch in so much as we shot for 15 days.
Wow.
And then
He's in the
we
valley.
did-
It's
we did
okay.
some
Slow
reshoots.
motion.
We
Very slow motion.
realized that we needed the ending needed to be better.
What?
Yeah, I know.
And,
You
it's
can,
frozen again.
you can hear me though, right? Yeah? No.
Now we can.
Now
yes.
we can.
Hello, 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 hello. You hear me?
Now we
Yes.
can-
Okay. So essentially what happens is that we shot for 15 days, then needed to do some reshoots, couldn't get the band back together, so to speak, until September. We only shot 4 days then. And that's a whole story in its own right. But I'll just say that before that, though, we had fires actually that had engulfed LA. If you look at 2017 in December, there's a thing called the Mulholland fire. And Mulholland is one of the main arteries on the 405 into LA. There's the Getty Museum, which is kind of on one side of the freeway. And the offices we were at, the Epicenter's offices, were on the other side of the freeway. And they're actually in a very nice part of town, Bel Air. It's on Sepulveda, blah, blah, blah. It's like a great part of town. but that entire area was on fire like Mordor from fucking Lord of the Rings. Like there's video. If you look up an article that's kind of talking about everything we're talking about right now, there's a Movie Maker, a magazine article about 1BR. So just a Movie Maker magazine and 1BR, and it'll pop up, I'm sure. And so it basically tells everything we're telling right now. But one of the other things was this fire was going on, and we couldn't go to the office, and we didn't know if their office had burned down or not. And so we had to move everything to my house. We're checking like the, Google Earth to see if we can see anything, and like just a plume of smoke. Like there's nothing there. And it looks like everything's on fire. So we had to like move our offices. We had to like figure out if
Fire. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
If the office was going to be there or not, and we had all this like stuff in there. It was terrible. In addition, sorry. Is it bad?
Just acting it out.
Yeah, you're going in and
okay.
out, and she's acting it out for us, just so we know what's going on. Okay.
I get some kind of retarded like sign language, which is like spirit fingers. Okay. So that happened. That was bad there. The office didn't burn down, thankfully. It all worked out. But we had to like literally drive up for some of our cast to like show them, because we were not shooting anywhere near the fires, and they were like, "Oh, I don't get smoke in my lungs," and we're like, "The fire is nowhere near the valley.
It's not coming this way. We're good.
Drive up to the apartment." Yeah, the apartment complex, and like literally get out of the car and just like show them like all around like 360 with my phone that there's no smoke in the air, there is no fires anywhere close to here, and then you could just look it up on the fucking internet if you were an idiot. But anyways, none of those people in the cast that were making that concern actually lasted, obviously, for our other conversation.
No, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the other funny thing about that chick was that she was just like, I need to leave production every night, like at 10 o'clock to go and practice stick fighting or something. And I was
I'm sorry,
like,
what?
Wait, hold up.
Okay.
Stick fighting.
Yeah.
We can't blow
fighting.
past that.
No.
We need to.
And I was
Say,
like,
How
I was
many
like
of
listening.
these have I done? I've never heard of stick fighting ever.
Fighting.
Well,
What?
you always learn something new.
Breaking
She
news.
wanted
Breaking
to leave-
news.
She wanted to leave early to go practice stick fighting.
Which is
And-
What
What
is that?
Well, no.
I have questions.
It's sort of a thing
I
where
have
you
questions.
fight with sticks. If you fight. Okay, well, what are the questions? Like, you have questions about stick fighting?
Oh, yeah,
So,
no.
I think what it is,
Yes.
fighting with
What
sticks.
is that?
They're like like this kind of thing, right? Like
Oh, like
I
you're
don't know,
holding it with two
raised and-
hands.
Oh, like the
Yeah, it's like a
nunchucks?
stick.
No.
It's
Nunchucks
not.
you
No, it's
spin.
not. It's not this. It's
Nunchucks you
like
like
a
spin
stick,
around.
and
No,
you're
it's like a
literally
long
fighting with
piece
some
of, like-
person with a stick.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I think the whole thing about stick fighting is that you
fighting.
learn to stick fight so you can actually act like you're using like sharper weapons. So you have
Okay.
sort of a way to know how to do it intuitively and how to choreograph stuff better and da-da-da.
Okay.
That
That
doesn't
makes
make
sense.
To be fair for
No.
this girl's career, it did go a lot down that path where she is like, I'm the actions kind of person or whatever. Anyway, long and short though is that she was trying to leave, and we're like, we're shooting for fucking 15 days. You need to be with us. Like, this is what you are agreeing
Stick fighting's
to.
gotta
Like,
wait.
Right.
Mhm.
we've sent David up there twice to fucking rehearse with your monkey ass and like whatever. Long and short of it is this. We basically tell her no for all of those things, and then we're shooting the movie, and about 7th or 8th day in, I get a text in the middle of the night. Now we're shooting like 18 to 20 hour days. It's a very long day for what we're doing. And so I, of course, am sleeping, and I don't wake up for this text. And the text is something really bad has happened, but I think it's going to be okay. And I wake up at like, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, what's going on now? And they're like, well, let me tell you. So in the middle of the night, at like 2 a.m., we parked our 3 production trucks outside of our offices, like that are in a nice part of town. Like Bel Air is a nice place to be,
Right.
It's on Sepulveda, which is a very busy street. It's next to the freeway, the 405. And this white Escalade pulls up and it has like no plates on it. And these 3 guys get out and they break into the first truck. And they're driving away with it in a span of like,
Oh,
I don't know,
no.
like, I mean, they all get back. Well, 2 of them get back out. One of them is driving away with it. But thank God they don't go to the middle truck, which our parking PA is in there. And he's watching all this happen. Like, he's awake. He's seeing all this stuff. And he has a gun or something. That's what I've heard. But he doesn't do anything with that gun. But what he does do is he gets into his own car and then follows this truck that's just been stolen. And he's on the phone with the
Awesome.
police. He's like, hey, listen, this truck has been stolen. They're like, oh, sir, you need to stand down. We'll take care of it. He's like, no,
He's like, too
I'm
late.
not sitting down
Too late.
until
I'm in
you
a chase.
are behind this truck.
Alok is
Well,
gonna
he's just
kill
like,
me.
I mean, I don't know. He likes fast. Well, no, trust me, I can't. Trust me, it's not me. It's doing this. It's like anyway. At this point, they go across a bunch of different freeways, and this guy is just like not giving up. He's like on the phone with them. They're like, sir, I will take care of it. Like, no, you will not. Until the cars get behind this truck. And you remember this Felix sign, this iconic Felix sign you always see like in movies in LA and this and that. That's where everything goes down. Is all of a sudden, right when they hit the 110 freeway. I feel like the Californians, like from Saturday Night Live, when we're telling the stories about the fucking freeways.
Me too.
No one gives a shit about.
Like it, yeah,
No one,
Uh-huh.
no one gives a shit about the freeways here.
It literally means nothing to us. We're like 405. Cool.
I don't know. Great.
110.
Love it.
I was gonna say we're about to get to my favorite part of the story, but
Uh-huh.
I just want to interrupt because we got to put a pin in that. I listened to you guys' podcast from when you reviewed the film,
Yeah.
which I loved. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
But it is very obvious that you guys are not from Los Angeles. There were like
No.
multiple points where I was like, okay, they've never even visited.
Nope.
But anyway,
Nope.
we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Sorry, Alok. You're about to get to
Okay,
the hot
so-
felon.
all right, so at the Felix sign, all of a sudden the helicopter light goes down on the truck, and all of a sudden 3 cop cars rush in. And then this guy tries to get off the freeway. He realizes he's being chased and tries to gun it and do all this stuff. And he fucks up the engine. I have to pay this fucking deductible on this goddamn truck and whatever. But they catch this guy. He finally like gives up. And he pulls into this McDonald's / Chevron gas station hybrid.
Okay.
And like, I don't know. So now this is all, by the way, this is all on TV now. This is all on TV. Like this is all televised, the televised chase at this point. So there's
Really?
footage of all of this on the DVD Blu-ray. Should you choose to purchase that, you can see all this entire story because we actually showed the footage of it at the our premiere at Fantasia. And the whole thing was like this all happened. We didn't tell our director about it. We just told everybody like and the company that we're using helped us like get a new truck and we put the equipment from one truck to another and whatever. We only started an hour late and no one knew why.
Wow. What a
why.
recovery.
And we told our director, we told our director when we were having the wrap party what happened. So we don't need you thinking about this bullshit. And we don't need the cast thinking about this bullshit for sure, because you know they're gonna fucking talk about this all day long. It's like, no, think about your fucking characters.
I needed to know sooner than I found out, though. Let me tell you. I needed to know.
We didn't tell we didn't tell the actors until like actually some of them found out at Fantasia when we were like, oh, by the way, here's the footage like for this.
Yeah, some shit went down.
So they show it's basically like an episode of Cops, right? Where they're like the guy emerges from this, white Escalade. He is like Brad Pitt and like Keanu Reeves like made a baby. It's like the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen ever. Like, was he shirtless? I can't remember, but it was it was the most beautiful moment in like television history, essentially. And anyway, it was like, what? Like, as if the fact that like our like movie van like literally got stolen wasn't like it was really the greatest coup ever. Like
yeah.
Like, why didn't you capture him and bring him back to me?
He has our hostage now,
Yes.
Well,
And actually, I want to say there's a deal, right? Wasn't there some sort of
well, so this guy like he was new to the truck stealing ring, which is
the beautiful man. Okay.
The beautiful
yeah,
man.
the handsome felon, and he has to pay us restitution, and I've never seen a dime thus far. So I have this fantasy in my head where I want to make him my monkey butler, like or it's a thing where you have to be in the sequel for 1BR, and you have to go and date Naomi Grossman.
Yes.
I don't know if we can get that done like in a real official capacity.
But in your head, that's what happens.
I mean, there's a lot of Me Too, and it goes both ways. So we don't want to like go down that path exactly. But maybe something organically happens. Like
you never know.
She like he sees
that
that
have the
wounded
introduction
bird,
there, and if there's chemistry, there's chemistry.
I mean, it could be anything. Like she sees a wounded prison bird and she wants to nurse him back to health. Like it's like It can go all different ways. I don't
There's a lot of
know,
opportunity
but
there.
we'll
Mhm.
see. We'll
my-
see. But
I
those
like
are
where
the
that's
three
going.
disasters. You've heard all three disasters. All three
All
All of
disasters
that happened in
on
15
one
days of your
VR.
shooting. That's insanity.
Yes.
Yes. And then there was another thing where, okay, so Naomi Grossman gets nominated for an Emmy.
Uh-huh.
Gets nominated for an Emmy.
Fantastic.
And we're trying to do our reshoots, and it's tough to get the band back together, so to speak, because we can't, like, everyone's a working actor. She's doing another season of American Horror Story. Taylor Nichols is doing like PN15. If you've ever seen that show, it's fucking amazing. He plays the father in that show. He has also done like Perry Mason just recently and whatever. So it's hard to get these working actors back together. And so we find out, okay, this is the 1 weekend, 1 week for 4 days, everyone come back together, and it's the week of the Emmys. And poor Naomi Grossman is so sweet and so kind. She was just like, God damn it, Mishra. I'll come back and do your shitty little movie. She didn't say that. But she was like, I can't go to that gifting suite. And they're giving away trips to Barbados. And like, but she sent her mom and said I think, so it all worked out, I think, for everyone to some extent. Okay, perfect. You're finished.
My mom never went to Barbados or the gifting suites. Although Alok did he managed, because I was on set and couldn't go pick her up because my mom was my Emmy date. And Alok was kind enough to send an Uber to pick up my mom and bring her to set.
I went and picked up your mom.
Oh, you were the
that's
Uber.
right.
Uh-huh.
He's even the Uber. That's how. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I'm not an Uber driver, but I went and picked up her mom.
Right.
I'm
You know
gonna
what?
pay
I
for
wouldn't
a
put it past
fucking,
you.
like, well, no, $150 Uber. I can go pick her up in my like shitty Audi or whatever.
But what was funny was my mom, because like I said, our basically friends and family were, the extras in the movie, because, couldn't afford them otherwise.
Right.
But my mom was like the one person they wouldn't allow, to be an extra because she looked too much like Miss Stanhope. Like, it's like, wait, we just killed off the one little white-haired lady. Like, we can't have another one running around. Yeah. Anyway, it was just funny.
To be fair, like her mom is nowhere near as frail as our dear Susan Davis. Like, she's not to say she's frail, but like her mom does like yoga and shit with like Naomi every day. So she's a spry lady who just happened to have a shock of white hair that was too similar to Miss Stanhope. So that was the reason.
Oh, she's 81 years old. Like, it's okay. She is a badass for her age, but you would never confuse her for like a young ingenue type.
Maybe back in the day. I don't know.
Exactly. Anyway.
Good for her.
All right.
My mom also listens to every single podcast we do. And so it's nice to give her a shout out every now and then.
Oh, I'm sure she loves it too.
Hi, your mom.
Also, I curse so much in every one of them that she's just like, Alok, you can be better. You can be better.
Well, she's judging you so hard.
Well, no, she's just like, you are smart and you don't need to use that language. And I'm like, fuck you.
Yes, I do.
No, I love her. I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, I know you didn't curse on that ride home from LAX, or else I would have heard about it.
No, we had a nice conversation. It was a nice.
So how long was the trip exactly from point A to point B?
Oh, from LAX to set?
Yeah.
I mean, depends on traffic. It can be anything from like a half hour to 3 hours.
Yeah, it can be just that. But we got. It was an hour, and I think I've met her before anyway. So yeah, it was all good.
Yeah.
She's a nice lady.
She
I'm
is.
gonna be disappointed. I used too many words. She's always gonna be disappointed in me. But I gotta say, can you tell the fish not to swim? Can you tell the bird not to fly? I cannot not curse. So
You should stick to Uber driving, Alok.
I've never
She found you a new career. I think you should just own it.
I've never driven Uber in my life, but and I'm not doing this to say that I'm not. God bless Uber people.
That was a little confusing.
I was literally like
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I definitely never Uber drive.
Anyway, listen. I did a lot of things when I should have been watching shooting, including going to fucking Costco to get goddamn craft services shit, and I mean all this shit where I was like, I'm gonna try to do all this stuff that the monkey shit they're making me do. We need we don't have people to do it, and I get there and watch all my stuff, watch all the stuff on Video Village. And then it would be like, you're an extra now. I'm like, God damn it, I did everything I was supposed to do. I don't want to do this fucking shit anymore. I want to fucking watch my shit. I want to be a real producer. So thankfully, the next movie we're doing is a bigger budget movie, so I don't have to do any of that shit. So
Oh,
Exciting.
there you go.
So we'll see what
No,
happens.
we're gonna get into that. Don't you worry.
All right.
Okay, all right.
You-
so,
yeah.
go ahead.
You will be eventually, Alok. That's why I love these stories, because eventually, like, 1BR is going to be one of those like cult things where you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
did you see Alok Mishra's first movie? Like, did you see he was an extra in that? Did you know that he picked up like Naomi Grossman's mom, and that he was like shopping for feminine energy drinks, and then you know what I mean? Like,
He's such a badass,
Uh-huh.
right?
yeah.
Hustled, yeah.
Eventually, like, he'll do nothing but like sit in Village Village and just like, you know.
Smoking cigarettes and just yell at people.
I'm drinking a fine cognac. And, I'll always just drink beer. I'll be honest. Fancy beer.
Fancy beer in a cup, in a glass.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is a very fancy glass.
It really is.
Right. I mean, we've been known to drink canned wine. Actually, we do drink
We
canned wine.
do
So
drink
you know
canned
what?
wine.
We're right there. We're good. All right. Next question for you guys. Okay. So can we talk about this apartment? Like, is this a real apartment? Did you
Like,
rent it
where's that?
out? Did you give us a story?
It's a real apartment.
Okay.
It's literally 2 miles from my current house, actually.
Oh,
Fun fact,
convenient.
My house is actually featured in the movie a couple of times. My old house was. I had a 103-year-old craftsman that actually had a
that's
basement
cool.
that I
Yeah.
turned into a wine cellar and all this good stuff. And so the reason I
Oh.
mentioned that is because the very beginning scene where you see Sarah talking to her dad is on the phone,
Uh-huh.
and this girl comes up behind her dad and gives him a drink, and that's
Mhm.
actually the nurse who'd seduced him away from
Uh-huh.
her and for that.
Yeah.
Played by a nice lady named Haley Giles. And the Giles is going to come back in a second, but just let me continue this thing.
Okay.
So essentially, there was that. And we also then had to do reshoots. And we realized the floor of my office was the same as the floor that was in. Okay, sorry. All the interior stuff is a set, by the way.
Okay.
Stuff that you see
Okay.
outside the apartment is a real functioning apartment. And
Oh, okay.
so what happens is that we don't have to stop things all the time to like let a dog is barking. We're like, this is a pet-free, smoke-free complex. One of the lines of
Uh-huh.
the movie. And they
Yeah.
obviously hate
Can't
the
have dogs
pets.
barking. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just like, we got to figure this out. This person isn't home. Like, I got to break in here. Like, allegedly.
Guess I'm
Allegedly.
allegedly a dog now, but okay.
No, but we would literally go to people and be like, hey, listen, here's $20. Go for a walk with your
Yeah.
dog. Would you please? And like, they're, oh, okay, yeah. And the apartment complex actually was so nice. They were so great because they were like, the name had disappeared. They were so great because they literally, like, you felt like the people that were living there were in on it or got some money from it because they just were like so nice and be quiet all the time and whatever.
Mhm.
And then, and very few people were like, fuck you, fuck your movie. I'm living here, whatever. And there were even people that were like, can we be in the movie? We're like, fuck yeah, you can be in the movie.
You're like, we need extras.
I'm not
I
Free
don't
paying
want to
extra,
do
free extra, money grabbing producer.
it.
Hold on, maybe we're trying to get back in here.
Okay.
So that kind of shit would happen, and so yeah, it's a real functioning apartment complex, and it's 2 miles away from my house. So the house that we shot a lot of stuff in that was like other stuff, let's say, like her dad. Also, all the stuff that is the sequence where she is being doing the lie detector stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? That's actually in the wine cellar that I made in this older house and stuff,
Stop
right?
it.
Yeah. So we did all that stuff, and even some of the oven stuff we did in my garage because we needed to kind of capture the oven stuff some more, like with the can or whatever. I mean, I feel
Uh-huh.
like people should have seen the movie by now. You're gonna give a
Yeah.
spoiler thing at the beginning of this, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's their loss.
Okay, right. So all this stuff, again, coming back to it, shot a functioning apartment that is 2 miles away from my new house. I had to move the goddamn valley to be closer to my parents because of this lovely baby we were talking about earlier, right?
Wow, bitter.
This-
Bitter.
I have a 5-year plan to get out of the fucking valley, but the valley's not as bad as they say. And the apartment complex actually is literally down the
The
street.
internet is.
The valley, yeah, valley internet is terrible. But but the actual apartment complex is literally just around the corner from my veterinarian for my dog. And so every time I go and turn the dog in for something, like I always go down, I just cruise down to the apartment complex and I'm just like taking pictures like, what's going on? And it's such a lovely
creep
place, by the way.
by.
It's actually such a lovely place, to be honest, in terms of whatever. But the reason we cast it sort of, as a character in our movie is because it was so uniform. And it's so one of those places in Southern California that you see all the time. Like anybody who's lived in Southern California at all has lived in one of these places one time in their life. It's just this very plain stucco. It's very uniform. There's nothing sexy about it. Maybe we actually did sexify it up a bit more with like our, places with the barbecue and different sort of parties and stuff like that they had, and the initiation and stuff like that. We made it look nicer because usually it's a very plain kind of thing. And they have a pool and they have a jacuzzi, but it's just, very limited as far as what those places are kind of like. And so it really kind of made sense and really feels to a lot of Angelinos that could be true almost, because you see some of these places that you maybe live in a neighborhood with like 10 of these places in the neighborhood, and you're just like, I've never seen anybody come out of that place before.
People live there? I don't know.
Yeah, and if you live in one of these places, and David Marmor was inspired by living in one of these places, right? And he had a cat he wasn't supposed to have either, right? So he was totally freaked out, like, oh, the cat gets out. He literally walked down like, these ramp ways or whatever. And I'm not saying the word right, but these something
breezeways, I think he calls them.
Breezeways, yes, yeah. And you would smile at people and wave to people, and you have no idea who those people are. And you are just literally just like, sharing walls with them, sharing floors with them and roofs and, whatever. And he was just like this is sort of the inspiration for the story, were these kinds of places. So I give you a very long-winded answer, but
that's fine.
That's the answer.
You are very long-winded. I'm just kidding.
I went out for a minute there, even my non-Valley internet. So who am I to speak? Who am I to talk? But so I missed. I don't know that he said everything, but I will say, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, the choice of that apartment was aces. Like, I personally found it super creepy, even just to be there. And I'm sorry for any people that actually live there, but your house is freaking scary. Like, he's right. He's not wrong. They were very nice people. They were, I mean, some of them actually were willing to be extras themselves. Again, some of them we did have to pay off to like walk their dogs so that they would stop barking in this non-pet, pet-free complex. But yeah, I mean, that there are so many places like that here, and they are creepy. It's true. Although,
Naomi, I was gonna ask, how are you doing for time?
Yeah.
How are you doing for time right now? Are you good, or how long can we go?
We're good.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, my class started. That's why I came into this other room, but it's fine. I told them that I'd be a little late, so it's fine.
Okay.
I think we just have a couple more questions.
Yeah, we just have a couple more questions, and we'll be done.
Alok is frozen. All good. But I will say this, because I teased you, it's very common here to be in a complex with a locked door. I know you guys in your podcast were like, red flag, and like my own like condo, like I own it, and yet there is a locked door. And the idea is that there is a call box, and it's actually for security purposes. Like if you don't have a doorman, which we don't all have a doorman, like you have at least like a box where you dial and then they can buzz in. Like, it's actually creepier to not have that locked door. As far as I know, so I was
walk in.
Right, exactly. Especially nowadays, like LA. Oh my God, I feel like LA has gotten very, like, the homeless situation is untenable, and like, yeah, no, say no more. Like, I feel like the homeless will not be watching this podcast for the most part, so I can say that.
So Naomi, by the way, I'll just say this: whatever part of the house you went to is in a better internet part, I think, because it is like so stuttery. I don't know if you can do anything about that. Or not, but
okay.
It's what it is. It's what it is. But listen,
okay,
ladies, Alok, that's the pot calling the kettle black. I'm just saying.
Or brown. All right, listen.
Wait, I'm not done telling them about how they
go.
are wrong. Okay, so that's number one.
Go ahead.
We all have locked doors here. Number two, you guys were like, They're neighbors. Nobody has jobs. Like, why is
True.
everyone wandering around all the time?
Uh-huh.
Well, guess what? Here in Los Angeles, no one has jobs. It's
Gotcha.
true. Everyone's like, the musician or an Uber driver where they're just like work when they work, and sometimes they never work. But so actually, I'll be honest, like when I first moved out here, I remember that was, well, I also didn't have a normal job, so I was one of them. But it was like anytime I had anyone come to visit, they're like, "Does anyone work in the city?" And it's true. That's an LA thing. Wait, what was the third thing? There was one other thing. I think when you guys were like, "Wait, she just climbs into her little sleeping bag," and I think I swear to God, when I first moved out here, when I had no friends, not even Alok, I'm pretty sure I was sleeping in a sleeping bag.
Oh, you're breaking up a little
And
bit.
the idea is that we move out with nothing but a dream. Move out here, nothing but a dream, and maybe a sleeping bag, and can't even necessarily afford a mattress or a blow up mattress yet. But we'll get there. And so I think that's also you're LA, of course all you have is a sleeping bag and a dream.
A sleeping bag of dream.
There you go. Shit. Really? Anyway, that's my piece and scene.
Well done. Thank you.
Move closer to whatever the thing is, not server, but the internet thing, whatever it is. If you can.
I'm in someone's house. I don't.
Wherever that thing exists, wherever they're like.
Go find the thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I'm just incompetent. Anyway, so next question.
All right, next question. We'll kind of wrap this up. We've got we wanted to kind of play a game with you guys if you had some time, but and if you don't, we're really cool with it.
Yeah, we just have to think 2 more questions.
So
we were kind of curious about the premise of the movie, with it being like the cult of the apartment complex. Is it based on interest of a certain cult that that kind of you guys were interested in, or is it based on experience?
David Marmor wrote the script, a writer-director, right? And from all the podcasts and everything we've done with him, we understand the story very specifically. And what it was that, there's some definite influences from, we don't want to say Scientology or whatever, because Naomi Grossman was very close to there. We don't want them to hijack her or pick her up when
safety first.
when she's riding her bike, she does. And all of a sudden she's disappeared by someone we don't, she shouldn't say their name for Bolden or whatever. But the main sort of cult that it may be sort of inspired by is this cult called Synanon. And it was a cult that would do the whole slapping thing, and they were a drug cult. They were a drug rehab originally that was actually the government was sending them people because there was a big stigmata on people who had drug addiction, they were lost souls, and basically they said that they weren't, and they taught them how to do things, and it became a thing where it became more of a cult of personality. It starts off with the best intentions. A lot of cults do, right? They're always oh, this is a great idea and you should do this. And there's a thing on HBO I just finished watching, Naomi, by the way, The Vow, which is about
Is it good?
Yeah, it is. And it's actually so close to, I don't think David even understood NXIVM for the ideas he came up with. He just came up with them independently. But there's some similarities in some weird ways. And it's a whole thing where they said in that show, the guy's like, no one joins a cult. No one thinks they're joining a cult, because these are all smart people that join NXIVM, for example. But Synanon, going back to that, very much became a cult of personality. It moved up north. These people shaved their heads and stuff and did things to and they had a thing at the end of the day where they're like, no one can actually ever be not addicted to drugs. So we all need to live together forever. We all need to be as one. We all need to know each other's deepest secrets. And they did the whole slapping thing, like I said, they would do that. That was a big thing. And apparently there were murders that occurred eventually, a couple of people got killed and stuff like that. A fun fact about it is that George Lucas's first movie is a movie called THX 38, right? 1138. And if you've seen that movie, there's a bunch of bald people in that movie because it's all sci-fi. That movie, for extras, a majority of the extras were people from the Synanon cult, because they'd all at some point decided they're all going to be equal, and they shaved their heads and they found a bunch of bald people up in Northern California where they're shooting the movie, and so they're in that movie, and that's an inspiration to some extent for our movie. So anyway,
Wow, that's cool. That's really
Listen,
interesting.
it occurs to me sometimes that I might be in a cult. Like I'm in this yoga cult. I swear to God, I can't miss a single day. Like even if it means that I have to do a podcast from like a bathroom that I've never been in before. Like I will do it because I don't want to miss yoga later. It's true. So yeah, listen.
to be honest, the signal's a lot
better.
The signal's a lot clearer in the bathroom. I will give you that.
You're doing great now.
Yeah.
Oh, the sound is great too. The echo, it's good.
The lighting's real nice on
Yeah,
you too.
you're looking
it's a really good
good.
spot. Should have been the whole time, girl.
Excellent.
It really is.
Okay, good. We found our spot.
You stay there. You're good. Okay. Okay. So
all right.
How does it feel to have a #1 movie on Netflix? Like when this happened and you became #1 and you got that #1 spot,
It's pretty fucking cool.
what'd you think?
So I will start only because I just think it's so adorable. So Alok apparently he gets up at 4:30 in the morning to look at the rating. That's the time they update.
I was doing it back then, but I only get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
okay.
Fine. Gotcha. Okay. That's a big difference.
I mean, I just know, he has this baby, so he's already on kind of a weird schedule as far as I'm concerned. So I just think it's a funny, like he literally like saw it happen. Like he's on the toilet and he starts like freaking out and he calls to his wife and she's like, "It's great. You're #1. Come back to bed." And which
well, I mean, to be fair, we had came out on like August 23rd. It's a Sunday, right? And they don't tell you, like, it's not like it goes in real time where they're like, we're updating this every hour on the hour. And you can't even, to be honest, see the top 10 on you can't see it on your regular like Netflix app on your TV usually. You can see it on your computer. You can see it on your phone, right? And so unless you're checking your phone, you won't really know your computer. And this poor woman I'm living with, like my lovely wife, like she deals with all my sort of not obsessive compulsive. I'm not diagnosed or anything. I was psycho.
So how does that make you feel?
I was a psycho bio major undergrad. I did half a master's in neurobio. I fucking understand the psychology of what I'm doing. But I get very obsessed and interested in certain things, and it takes me a while. And when I figured it out, right? So I didn't know when Netflix was actually releasing their data, and I figured out, it's like 4:30 in the morning. That's when they do it, because I'd literally be there at 4:25 and be like, all right, this is the #1 movie on Netflix. 4:32. Oh, this is the new #1. This is when they released it. Right? So now I knew, and so somehow I set my body up when we first released to be up in the morning, and on the Sunday we came out, we don't know what we are doing. We don't know what we're going to be. We're just telling all our friends, please watch the movie. Please tell your friends of friends. Please just put it on a loop and whatever, just everything we can do to make our little movie, whatever. And we have, how many people can we get at? For all the people let's say, right? And all of your social circle and their friends, let's say, maybe 100,000 people. Maybe, right?
Maybe, yeah.
And on our idiot monkey minds, we're like, we can make a difference. And the truth of it was this: we were well reviewed. We had a good VOD. People knew about us. When we when we started our VOD, we then found out, okay, you're going to be on Netflix. You can't tell anybody. You're going to be on Netflix. And so we were like, we need to like kind of build as much awareness of the movie as we can. This is all coming from testing movies, right? So we were like, listen, let's go on every podcast we can go on. Let's go on, let's do every interview. Let's do whatever else. We have like amazing partners in Naomi Grossman. And then who knows, maybe the sequel is called 1BR, The Chronicles of Janice. Who knows? But I'm just saying that like
You never know. Anything's possible.
We had amazing partners and all our actors and all of our like, you know, people that were the directors or whatever. And we just went on and did every podcast we could do. We did every interview we could do. We did whatever we could do. And we spaced them out. We did them completely. And our VOD numbers were good. I mean, we actually were on like, you know, on iTunes horror charts, iTunes charts in general are actually some of the best like in the business. They update like every hour. And so we were like, for the first month in the top like 10 at the top 25 or whatever, right? So the point is this, between those things and between actual Netflix, it wasn't us that made any difference. We made some differences. We got a lot of stuff in the Google sphere, let's say, but it was really people liking the film and telling their friends that really made the biggest difference in the world. And that's a huge thing because, you know, we're going back to market research. If you like a movie and you tell your friend about the movie, it is 10 times more sort of impressive or great for that friend rather than any trailer we could ever pay to cut. Let's say
Absolutely.
like, this trailer's really great. But you telling your friends this movie is fucking dope. That's the fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
So all of these things went into sort of like the sort of way that we were able to get to number one eventually on iTunes. Because the first week, going back to it, we got on Monday, we were in the top 5. And then we were 4, 2, and then 1, like on the Friday. And we're like, ah! And then number 2, then number 3, number 5. And then we're like, okay. And after 8 days, we were out. And I was like, first off, when we hit number 1, I was like on the toilet, as Naomi Grossman has said earlier, at 4:30. On the Thursday, we were at number 2. I was like, I think we can get to number 1. We can get to number 1 in the US. What does that mean for us? Because it means that this little shitty, and I don't mean it like shitty, but I mean like a little low budget film.
Yeah.
Could actually achieve number 1 and beat Jamie Foxx's movie, you know, Project Power or whatever. I mean, fucking
awesome.
Forbes did an article on that Friday, which was like, who is this little movie that beat Jamie Foxx's movie? Like, it's us.
It's everything. Yeah.
So I literally like was on the toilet when I was reading this stuff or whatever, and I shouted to my wife, "We're number 1!" She's like, "Don't wake up the goddamn baby!" And I'm like, "Oh, baby, sorry." So I got off the toilet, and you know, I was just peeing, but I was just like reading my stuff. Like, you know, like I was waking up, my contacts are dry, whatever. I'm just trying to say that I got on the toilet, went to the living room, started crowing about it, and then it really started hitting me what it meant. And I was like, everything we did to get here, from our festival run to our like, you know, sort of like our purposeful packaging of like, you know, different kinds of journalists that we went after and like we had great partners in our company, Dark Sky, who's our they're basically our sales agent distributor, and they had a person that was our publicist. But then we went outside our publicist and did our own things, right? Like literally since we launched till now, all those things culminated into that number 1. And I literally went like, you know, after I'd done all my crowing online, this and that, I went to the room around like, I don't know, at that point it's like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. My wife's out of the room, and I just put the Rocky IV like soundtrack on, and I just listened to it, and I cried like a woman. Like, I'm not like a woman. Not like a woman. It's bad, but just like I was emotional. I was just like, we accomplished it. Hearts on fire. Hearts on fire. Like Rocky's running up that mountain, and like Drago was like punching machines, and I'm like, yes, you did it. Dun, 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 dun. Like they do the Rocky game at the very end of that, and I'm like, yes. And I would start it over again. I did it for 3 hours, and my wife's like, I shouldn't come in here, and I'm like, not if you want to see a man cry like a woman. But that was the truth. But that was the thing. We did it. Like, and it was the thing. Like our little shitty no film that should have been disappeared from like anything a long time ago. I can tell you this right now. Every day we're on. I check it because I check it not at 4:30 in the morning anymore, but whenever I get up, I check it now. But
Why
on
not?
like
At
you
5.
know,
Yeah.
Okay.
basically on on Netflix, they have like certain sections that you look at, right?
Mhm.
And you can tell you're doing good because you know you're in a lot of sections, right?
Mhm.
So when you first turn your machine on, you'll see, oh, okay, we're in 6 sections, and this is with movies and TV and everything, right? Then you click over to the movie section. We're in 8 sections, and in the horror section, we're also in 8 sections. So you know every day we're doing well, and
Mhm.
we've actually like without saying too much, we've talked to the Netflix people, had a meeting with them. They're very nice people.
Mm.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what's going to happen, but something interesting.
What does that mean?
what a
Wait a minute.
cliffhanger.
You're such a tease.
Little teaser.
Really?
Hey, listen. This is the same thing I do for anything we're working on. We just J.J. Abrams the shit out of it. Like, I
Just
mean,
start talking about it.
I can tell you what's in the box. So you'll pay to see what's in the box, I think. And if the box comes up just secret, like during the Super Bowl or something, like all of a sudden there's something on the Super Bowl, you're like, there was a commercial for this on the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna watch this now. That was Cloverfield, by the way. I'm making a reference to. It was kind of a piece of shit, that one. But anyway, long and short, though, I still watch it right after the Super Bowl. I was like, holy shit! So it's better to be, I think, in that way, and just kind of keep it in the box and see what's happening, and go from there. But
Exciting.
I'll say this. That's what we have going on. We're actually, so in terms of, I'm sure your question is what we have going on. So the going on question is that Shane and I are working on a movie with this guy called Marcel Sarmiento called Emergent. That's all I can tell you about it. Hopefully shooting in the spring. It's a really cool movie. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
David Marmer and Shane and myself are also doing another movie. Get the band back together again, hopefully.
Is it like more the horror side still, or are we doing something different?
I can't tell you what it's about.
No
But
kidding.
I will tell you, it's super fucking cool, and it'll really get to show the world what David is about because he has so many amazing ideas. He's very much an auteur, and we are so happy to have like our trailer hooked to his like fucking locomotive because I think he's going to do amazing stuff. And so that's what we have going on. And Naomi Grossman has some amazing stuff going on, I can tell you.
Naomi, let's hear it.
Let's hear it, girl.
Well, I have a couple one-woman shows that I did. What happened? Oh, just my face. Okay. No, I did. So no, but you know, in those 20 years that I was Alok's friend and not having success in Hollywood, I'd written a couple one-woman shows. And I've, this pandemic has, forced us all sort of inside and to, look within and busy ourselves in some way. And so I've managed to polish off my third, which
Very
is
cool.
very exciting. It's been something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. And, the point is it's done. It's done. The writing, the heavy lifting's done. Now is a matter of, producing it. And, so I'm kind of at this point it's going to look very different than the other two in every way, only because the other two I wasn't even pepper yet, so I was pretty much taking my Spanish teaching wages and whatever didn't go towards like food and rent, I went towards producing the show on stage. Well, at this point we're not gathering in theaters anytime soon. And for that matter, I don't even want to. I mean, don't get me wrong, like theater's my first love. And yet, my real dream is to, sell this as a 1-hour comedy special to one of these, streaming services. So, which is actually, ironically, probably more likely to happen than us, gather in a theater anytime soon. So, anyway, that's the hope, the plan. I like Alok.
To be honest, she's just being modest though, because like her second one-woman show was like, LA Weekly's best thing to see and all.
Naomi,
that's awesome.
Well, that's awesome.
Edinburgh, and like, I mean, it's so funny. It's called for carnal knowledge. Am I saying that right? Carnal knowledge.
Yeah, it was Carnival Knowledge. Yeah,
Carnival Knowledge, whatever.
So it's like a play.
It's about her like dating all these different guys in LA, including one of them that just pulled up to her like next to her at a stoplight and was dressed in a chicken costume. And she went out with that guy, which was like, that's brilliant. That's Naomi.
Was it like one date or is there multiple dates? What's happening?
Was he still in the chicken costume?
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I will date you so long as you stay in that suit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's actually, well, don't in the suit, but just never wear regular clothes as long, and this will last. Actually, that's how it ended. I want to say, like, he showed up to our like third date in like chinos and you know what I mean, and like a Izod shirt. And I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Yeah,
Bring back the chicken.
Where's the
costume.
chicken?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. We all want a giant cock, right? I mean,
Who doesn't want one of those?
thank you.
Well, do you? I mean, I think we've worn out our welcome with you. We had
Yeah.
some other things planned, but I think
No, but we're
really
an
hour and a half in, so I think we're good.
Naomi, you got to go. What's going on? Are we good?
Well, no, I mean, if you have other things planned, it's fine. It's all good. The cult will wait if you want to continue. But I agree. We don't want to wear out a welcome with you guys. So
no, this is just fun. This is silly. This is we're gonna do.
We have a couple like would you rather questions that involve horror movies.
Okay. Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
I think we have like 5 of them. So
yeah,
it's
there's
not
like 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So and
sure.
This could be pretty quick. All right, you ready?
Yep.
So the first one: which event would you attend? A Halloween party at Michael Myers' hometown, or prom at Carrie White's high school?
Well, Michael Myers for me. I mean, why not?
No, I didn't go to prom. I was an exchange student in high school, and so I missed it.
Okay.
And Carrie is like one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm gonna go for Carrie. Yeah.
I think you should. Right?
Well, it's also a very messy affair at Carrie's place. And you
right. There's lots of blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on here. You interesting fact that I learned about Naomi Grossman being like not able to go to her prom. So you were a senior or a junior when you were away?
I was a senior away. Mm-hmm.
Where were you
Where were you?
I was super over high school. Like I actually graduated. Well, I graduated with my class, but literally like I needed 1 credit to graduate, and that was like PE. Mm-hmm. So they were like, well, if you like ride your bike around your neighborhood like every day, that's like 3 miles. And if you did that like for the summer, we can kind of count that as a year of school, which I was like, cool. So yeah, I skipped my senior year. I was in Argentina for it.
Awesome.
My high school was lame. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're probably watching. No, but no, my high school was all like, oh my God, you're going to miss the senior barbecue. And I'm like, I'm going
bitch,
to
I'm in Argentina. It's fine.
Like,
to have churrascaria.
I'll get my meat on. Yeah. Like, please. Yeah, no, it was a good choice on my part.
Sorry.
So
although I did apply to Northwestern from like Argentina, which meant like, faxing in my essay, and my mom was like, did you send it? I was like, I think so. Which, is very stressful for like parents, around that time, but they obviously got it. I got in, I met your friend. That's how I know Alok. So
it all worked out
in the end.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Next one. Which unfriendly guest would you rather have knock on your door? The group from The Strangers, or a pack of killers from The Purge?
That's a loser.
I don't know The Strangers at all.
Oh,
these guys just show up and they're gonna kill you. That's what you gotta know.
Yeah, and then it's just a mind fuck the whole time. They're just like
they
throwing
try
shit at
to
the
play
house.
with you, whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
And like,
It's all psychological.
Here's the thing: The Purge. At least I knew what they were coming for, and I would probably just open the door and be like, "Here's a shotgun," or a machine gun or something, or whatever. I feel like I'd have more control with The Purge. Where The Strangers are more like, anything goes, anything can happen, and so the fact of staying alive would be more of The Purge. I think that's what I would choose.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
we'll go with it.
That's a good one.
Like I said, it's very hard. It's hard for me to choose, having not actually knowing The Strangers. But I will say this: when I was at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios there was Yes, there was like an automated pepper inside like the AHS maze, and they invited me to, you know, walk the red carpet. And that night I remember taking a girlfriend and she was from New York, and I was like, sorry, LA sucks, like, you know, after the red carpet's done, there's like not really much to do, you know. And she's like, girl, there's plenty to do. We're going to lose these high heels, drop this tab of acid, and head back into the park. And that's what we did. And let me tell you, I
thought it was mushroom. I thought it was mushroom.
No.
It's acid?
Okay. No.
Listen, microdose. My mom might be listening. But here's the thing. I will say this. We at this point, we're starting to see dancing bears, and there were like mass purge people, you know, at the park, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, like, hi, do you know where the AHS maze is? You know, and so literally, and these guys are like, you know, like giving us directions. And so the point is, I feel like I kinship because, like I said, in my most vulnerable moment, like out and about, like on drugs in Hollywood. And so, yeah, I choose the
a normal day in Hollywood. Everybody's on drugs.
That's my final answer.
Okay. All right, next question.
No, just me.
All right, it's purge.
Next question. I got to get back to my cult.
Oh,
okay, we got three more. It's
purge night. Which would you rather have at your disposal, a machete or a bulletproof vest?
I think machete. You know, I've never done any stick fighting, but I'd like to
Sounds like you're missing out, really.
Clearly.
All right, I think I gotta go for the machete as well. Yeah. Machete.
You gotta protect yourself, right?
Machete too.
I'd rather be on offense and defense, and I feel like if I could swing that furiously enough.
If you just have a vest, you're vulnerable in every other way. Like you don't have anything to protect you.
Yeah. If it's an offensive night. Everyone's trying to go after each other. So
yeah. Agreed.
All right, we'll make this the last question. Which would you rather endure? A season at the Overlook Hotel or a summer at Camp Crystal Lake? Summer at Camp Crystal Lake.
Camp Crystal Lake is Jason, right?
Is
that right?
Yeah. The other one's Shining.
Overlook is The Shining.
The Shining.
Yeah.
I'm from Colorado. I would go to the Shining Hotel. I would love to. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
nice views too. So I think you're good.
Here's the thing.
Lovely views. Yes.
For me, I feel like it's a thing where I'm a person of color. And so I don't feel like, getting on the sun is like, the thing I need to do necessarily. In fact, for Indian people, we're all fucking racist as hell. Not Indian, but my mom and her friends are like, he's so dark. I'm like, Mom, you're South Indian. You're the fucking darkest person ever. So that's why I don't go in the sun. Like, I don't want to be any darker. All right, great. My brother is very dark. I kind of like, if you can see my beautiful skin in the whatever.
Very olivey, yes.
I am like here. I go out more after my dad, who's more Northern Indian. They're more light skinned, let's say, right? So going into the idea of where I want to be. Well, I would like to be, out in the sun and hanging out at camp, whatever it is, versus the Overlook Hotel where you're like, okay, listen, you're just trapped here now. Right?
Yes, 100%.
So it just depends, like, how trapped are we? Because I feel like I'm trapped right now. Everyone says the detail in the background is like, everyone feels like you're at the Overlook Hotel. They feel like I'm in The Shining. And I feel like I'm in the fucking Shining every fucking day, right? The only difference between me, though, and Jack Torrance is that I'm fucking still drinking. I'm not a quitter. I'm not a fucking quitter. So I would tell you this. I feel like I'd rather be in The Shining because as long as you're drinking and hanging out, you're not going to kill anybody, really.
Right. I think that might have just been his problem. He wasn't drunk enough. That was the problem, I think. That's what I always say. That's what I always say. Like, you could have, like, you're a quitter. You could have been better. Just don't shake the kids when they get on your nerves. Just be like, hey, listen. Just be like out with them. Say like, listen, you don't want to go to bed? I bet I can go to bed, and I bet you can't go to bed. And they're like, I can go to bed. Challenge accepted.
Okay. I'm a winner.
Like worst case scenario, like my childhood home was like an hour and a half away. Like we would find I know of refuge close to the Overlook
Okay.
Hotel. Yeah. Like no big deal. We got this.
Awesome.
We just got to get out, but past that.
Okay. All right. Well,
awesome.
that was all the torture that we've given you as far as the
Aw.
question and answers.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah.
We really appreciate
We
it.
are
cool.
Oh, it was
we're
so fun.
fangirling
It was
right
great
now.
meeting you
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
Thank you for the
anything-
very comprehensive review. It was great. I
You're
really
welcome.
enjoyed listening. Truly, you guys, you hit all the points. I was like, wow, I forgot about all of that.
any last questions you want to ask?
That was all. we
No,
had,
I think we're good.
Yeah, and we're
All right,
gonna send you
cool.
some shirts for sure.
Is there
Oh,
something
yeah.
that
Badge up shirts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just
My,
extra small.
I got you, girl.
I will say my wife's a small. If you want to send me more.
Absolutely.
okay. I mean, we'll
Noted.
we'll do it.
Mhm.
You got it.
All right, cool.
We'll make sure that we get your addresses and everything and send it to you.
Yeah, we'll message you guys.
We'll look at
Yeah.
that. Look at that.
Yeah,
Thank
tell
you,
me
guys.
any
Listen,
handle you need me.
I'm
to
gonna
tag.
Got
stop
it.
the record. I'm gonna stop the record right now.
Okay.
Okay.